Sometimes, love defies time and distance. Stories of separation and reunion that will touch your heart. In this video, you will witness 38 incredible animals reuniting with their owners after years apart. Get ready for tears of joy and moments that will warm your soul. If you're ready to experience these magical moments, let's dive right in. When Dom and Aspen raised a baby gorilla and then released him into the jungle, he soon found himself truly missing his furry friend. 5 years later, Dom made up his mind to return to the jungle to find the gorilla he'd once cared for. Despite warnings from everyone around him that it might be a bad idea and that the gorilla had probably long forgotten him, Dom spent hours searching, growing more and more discouraged. Just as he was about to give up, he called out to the gorilla in hopes that maybe, just maybe, the sound of his voice would spark some memory. To his amazement, the gorilla finally appeared, and the two shared an incredibly emotional reunion. In Wisconsin, a man lost his dog, Chase, after asking a friend to care for him during a 2-week trip. Chase disappeared, and the man's heartache only grew as he spent the next 2 years searching relentlessly, calling every shelter across the state. Finally, his dedication paid off, and he managed to track down Chase. Although it took the dog a moment to recognize him, they shared a deeply touching reunion. Wolves, while not generally aggressive toward humans, are still naturally cautious and vigilant. A woman named Anito had spent a long time bonding with a pack of wolves, gaining their trust and forming a close relationship. When she returned to visit them after 2 months, she was delighted to find that the entire pack joyfully welcomed her back with excitement and affection. Perhaps one of the most remarkable stories demonstrating that even wild animals can feel affection is the tale of Christian, the lion. In 1969, a young Australian man and his friend bought a lion cub from a pet store, a practice that was legal at the time, and named him Christian. Christian lived in the basement of a furniture shop for a while until he was eventually returned to the wild. A few years later, Christian's former caretakers made a journey to find him, and when they finally reunited, it was an emotional moment filled with love and recognition. Even though most lizards are not known for their social behavior, there are exceptions. Every day when one man returns home from work, his pet lizard excitedly runs to greet him, showing genuine joy. After a tornado destroyed a man's home, he expressed that he didn't care about losing his possessions and only wanted to see his dog again. Thankfully, his wish was granted, and the two were joyfully reunited. A great height difference might be a challenge for some, but when your favorite zoo animal sees you after months of separation, nothing can stop the overwhelming joy of reunion. This meeting is so emotional and profound that it's as if both recall every moment of being apart. The husky, after not seeing his owner for so long, initially looked at him in disbelief, almost waiting for proof of his return. It took a few moments for the husky to reconnect with reality and express his endless excitement. Such a heartfelt and emotional reunion can only be handled by a professional with patience, for this person raised the wild deer with love and care since it was a fawn. Now, they are bound by a family-like connection that feels unbreakable. Cockatoos are usually talkative and noisy, but Tofu was so overjoyed at seeing his owner again that for the first time, he was speechless. This rare moment captures the deep bond between this bird and its owner. For most people, a pack of approaching wolves might be terrifying, but for Luca, it's an entirely different story. He is part of the wolf family. Yes, these wolves wag their tails with joy and are thrilled to see him again. This is the kind of welcome one would hope to receive from a friend. Someone who greets you every day after work with boundless enthusiasm and pure affection. It's truly heartwarming to witness. Now look at Smokey, running with all his strength to thank the veterinarian who rescued him after a terrible fire and helped him recover over 2 long months. His sprint is like a heartfelt expression of endless gratitude. When this experienced professional from Florida comes to visit his crocodile friend, this massive creature begins to purr, a sound of contentment and affection. This kind of visit takes courage, but it's definitely not recommended to try at home. Just watch this young woman reunite with her horse after 4 months of separation. The scene is heartwarming and touches every viewer. Even the other horses respond with joy, as if they are all celebrating this special reunion together. The kangaroo, overwhelmed with nostalgic feelings upon reuniting with its old friend, didn't want to let go of them. The eager lioness couldn't wait even a second longer to reunite with the man who had once cared for her. The caracal, who hadn't seen its trainer for a whole year, couldn't hold back and embraced him, establishing a connection. Every time they meet, a hug and handshake are a traditional ritual for them. Nothing compares to the joy of returning home and receiving a warm welcome from a dear friend. An ordinary day suddenly turned special when the dog met the person it had been waiting for, who had finally returned. Monkeys, known for being among the smartest and most emotionally advanced species, show no surprise in the little monkey refusing to sleep until its grandmother arrived. The moment when the ducks and geese embraced their human friend was truly emotional. We can feel the sincere affection they share for each other. The orphaned bear still remembered the man who had cared for him since childhood. Time may change their appearances, but it can't change their love. The young man, who had been injured in his leg and had to endure 3 surgeries, was going through a tough time. But the return of his lost dog gave him the strength to overcome his challenges. This little cutie, named Lim Bonnie, is absolutely overjoyed to be reunited with his adoptive parents. It's been 3 long years since they last saw each other, so let's give them a few special moments to fully enjoy this precious reunion. Now watch how this lioness turns into a playful kitten when she spots the man who saved her life years ago. The joy and love radiating from her is simply priceless. A schnauzer named Casey hadn't seen the person she loved most in 2 whole years. When they were finally reunited, she was so overwhelmed with happiness that she fainted from excitement. This lion seemed completely absorbed in its own world, until suddenly it spotted its owner, the one person it hadn't seen in ages. Just one look was enough to change everything. Attila, a loyal U.S. Navy dog, was set to spend his retirement years in a shelter. But his former partner, Jacob Barella, fought tirelessly for 3 years to gain the right to bring him home, and he finally succeeded. This reunion is truly heartwarming. Camels are known to forget nothing, and here's the proof. Amidst a crowd of people, this camel immediately recognized its beloved owner and hasn't let go of him since. A German shepherd named Psycho was still just a tiny puppy when his owner went off to serve in the military. A year later, Psycho comes face to face with a stranger at the door, but after a quick sniff, it's as if they'd never been apart. Just look at how wonderfully this pup channels his excitement. Dean Schneider hadn't been with his family for over 2.5 weeks, and the joy in his family's response to his return says it all. Yes, I'm talking about these lions. 4 years ago, Dean sold his company in Zurich to join their pride in South Africa, and they're beyond thrilled to have him back. Derek has been by these elephants' sides since they were little babies. Now, all these years later, they don't see him as a caretaker, but as one of their own family members.